My dear beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you all back to the life of Prophet Mousa alayhi salatu wassalam. We left off last week where Mousa alayhi salam had already got married to the daughter of a sheikh who he found in Madian. This sheikh welcomed him and looked after him. What also happened was I was approached by a question which was, who is this sheikh? A lot of references out there that indicate that he was the Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salatu wasalam. Sadly, looking through all my research, I'd find loads of reference to him being Shu'aib alayhi salam. However, the arguments, there was no proof of that. They would just mention it as a fact. But there was no evidence of that sheikh or the father-in-law of Mousa being Shu'aib alayhi salam. Furthermore, there were more indication that if Mousa alayhi salam lived with his father-in-law, Shu'aib, for 10 years, if he was Shu'aib, there would have been some form of an interaction, a story of some sort that would have happened in that 10 years, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have mentioned it, or Ibn Abbas would have mentioned it personally, and therefore, just for sake of consistency, if there isn't any evidence of it, I just put it aside and just say it's Shaykhun Kabir. I mean, it would have been eventually mentioned in the Quran, so therefore he's just a righteous sheikh who has listened to the message of Shu'aib alayhi salam, and he was a salih, he was a righteous person. The other thing is, I wanted to touch on really quickly where the daughter of the sheikh, she said to her father, "Inna khayra man ista'jarta qawiyyun amin." Oh father, you know, the best person to hire to work for you is a strong person and an honest person. But strength in Quran does not just refer to physical strength. You're talking about strength in doing and ability to do stuff. And she saw that he was strong physically and he was able to do things and carry out tasks, and he was honest the way he interacted with that girl. What I wanted to imply here was, we all know that Quran is valid for every time and day. If we all took that ayah and applied it in our lives, ability and honesty, these are two key things. Most of us would have gone through CVs and building a personal statement. If you use these two words with the need of using the Quran in your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you. So you're writing your CV, add 2 points of ability, strength in whatever you're going to do, and honesty. Try and put examples of these in your CV. And by the grace of Allah, inshallah ta'ala, your CV at least would get shortlisted. I mean, I'm not saying this, I'm not a religious scholar, I'm not saying that because of something. It's something that has come to my head, to my attention as I was reading the ayah and reading the tafsir. So you're about to do a personal statement, you're about to do a CV, throw these two key words in there, throw evidence of that, and you'll see by the grace of Allah just how it worked for Mousa alayhi salam. It got him a job. Inshallah, it will help us all progress, inshallah. So now, inshallah, I'd like to start off from that point. Mousa alayhi salam has got married. He's got his family now. And he's finished his 10 years that he has promised his father-in-law to stay with him and work for him in that period. He was a shepherd. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that every single prophet was a shepherd at one stage of his life. And the whole essence, or one of the rationales for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making every prophet to become a shepherd at one stage of his life is because it teaches you a lot of patience. It teaches you, you're bringing things together, and eventually as a prophet you're bringing the people, the hearts and the minds of people together. And it's a metaphor at the same time as it's a way of applying what they teach in their message, or what they've learned during their life in their message. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again prepared Prophet Mousa alayhi salam with this job of being a shepherd. So he's gone through lots of stages and a lot of teaching stages in his life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completed it with being a shepherd. So he developed patience, he developed the knowledge and the acumen of knowing how to navigate himself around the desert. Because later down the line he'll be leading the children of Israel through that same desert. And so therefore he had to make sure that he is well aware of how to do it, how to transport and travel through the desert. So he's been prepared, he's ready. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala found him ready to do that. More to the point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala developed him physically in terms of his own self. Now he's about to receive a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's about to hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. And so therefore his senses had to be developed to a stage where he will be able to understand and hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we're very limited hearing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created within a certain boundaries of wavelength that we can accept, but to hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he had to be developed in a different way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala developed him in his character and in his physical sense. He reached his 10-year final day and he left Midian. He had to go back home now. He's about time he goes back to Egypt. So he plans his journey to go to Egypt during a time where there's the moon, it's a full moon, so that he's traveling with his wife through the desert at a time when there's a full moon, and he doesn't want to be traveling during the sun because of the fact that he's got a lady, his wife's with him, and he's got to be protected. So as he was heading towards this desert, but this time he was prepared, he had the clothes, he had everything that he would need in this travel. And so if it took him alone fleeing from an enemy 8 days, with his family it would have taken him 10, 15 days maybe to reach Egypt. So as he was walking in the desert at night, the timing couldn't have been any better. The weather was brilliant. It was a nice cool breeze in the desert. The moon was shining and he can see his way, and he was walking peacefully. And then subhanallah, as he was approaching the valley, a valley called Tawa, all of a sudden just the clouds just accumulated above them, and then he started pouring with rain, and then thunders, and then wind, gusts of wind, and he just turned upside down all of a sudden. And they tried rushing it slightly, him and his wife, and they tried running a little bit, and then to the distance he saw this sun. Oh, sorry, my apologies. He saw this fire. Now, to anybody, it's very hard to light a fire in rainy conditions, yet alone in the desert with very simple tools. That kind of shocked him. Other sources actually mention that it was him who only saw the fire. His wife couldn't see it. But again, I couldn't see a lot of evidence about that. But he said to his wife, "Inni anastu nara." I've seen some light. Maybe what I could do is go and try and check it out. At least get some, like a wood with a bit of fire so we can use it. Or even just get some guidance, because now it's all different. It's all the weather, the terrain of the desert. Everything's been a bit different. So at least go and see what he can get from there. What sort of help he can get. So Prophet Mousa alayhi salam left his wife there, because ultimately it could be anybody there in the desert. He can't risk it taking his wife with him to that place. So he started walking, and it was raining and pouring. And then as he walked a few more meters towards the source of the fire, as he walked, it was just like one step. That was all he needed, just one step forward within that valley. And then suddenly everything changed. One moment it was raining, it was winds, it was gusts of everything there. Then as he approached that fire, it stopped. The weather came out very nice. It was very pleasant and warm. He felt very relaxed, very calm. He was quite intimidated. He was just being under that sun. Just being under that rain and just that condition with his wife, and they didn't expect rain to happen all of a sudden. So not being prepared for that, and then suddenly walking into this area where everything changed. The weather was brilliant, although it was still night, but everything changed. And then he saw that fire, so he wanted to go closer to that fire. And the closer he gets to that fire, he can see this green tree. Excuse me. This green tree. And then what he thought was a bit of fire flamed onto that tree. And it's weird because throughout that distance, or throughout the whole time from his journey, from when he saw it and he approached it, you'd have thought that the fire would have engulfed the tree, or he would have burned the tree and would have settled down now. But it didn't. And the tree wasn't exactly like fueling the fire in any way. And then he started walking even closer to that tree. only to see that it wasn't even a fire. It was actually like an orb of light around that green tree. And at that point, one moment he was on the rain, and another second later, just one step, which was a definitive step, got him into this area which was different. And then in that moment, he can hear, Ya Mousa. In that moment, the desert, that moment, he can hear his name being echoed within the distance. That would send shivers through anybody. Just somebody calling your name, just in a room, alone, is something. But then to be in the middle of a desert at that time of the night, your wife's a few meters away from you, so you're worried about your wife, you're worried about yourself. And then he's in this place, and then his name got mentioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Taha, وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى إِذْ رَأَى نَارًا فَقَالَ لِأَهْلِهِ امْكُثُوا إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا لَعَلِّي آتِيكُم مِّنْهَا بِقَبَسٍ أَوْ أَجِدُ عَلَى النَّارِ هُدًى فَلَمَّا آتَاهَا نُودِيَ يَا مُوسَى إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ فَاخْلَعْ عَلَيْكَ إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوًى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, wait, verily I can bring some burning brand from them, or find some guidance at the fire. And when he reached there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, remove your sandals. He heard, remove your sandals. Now some Mufassir went to say that it's because of Allah teaching him, you are a humble person, but now you will be listening, you will be talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's another level of humbleness. Remove your sandals and put them aside. Show complete humbleness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other Mufassirin said that the sandal was made out of the skin of a donkey. And so therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted everything to be pure in that person. So as Mousa approached, he took his sandals aside and he came forward. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even shows us what part of the valley that the sound came from. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري إن الساعة آتية أكاد أخفيها لتجزى كل نفس بما تسعى فلا يصدنك عنها من لا يؤمن بها واتبع هواه فتردى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and I have chosen you, so listen to that which will be revealed to you. I am Allah, لا إله إلا أنا, there is no God but me. So worship me and perform salat, iqamah, for my remembrance. Verily the hour is coming that every person may be rewarded for that which he or she strives. Therefore let not the one who does not believe in the day of resurrection, reckoning paradise and hell, but follows his own lust, divert you therefrom lest you perish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threw the first few things to Prophet Mousa alayhi salam. I am Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced himself to him. Innani ana Allah. Allah introduced himself to Mousa alayhi salam and then said to him, there is no God but me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about himself, there is no God but me. Mousa in this shocked state, he can hear these words being revealed upon to him. Now he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to him. He knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling him that there is no God but him. And then straight away Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to worship him and him alone, and to do salah, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him about the day of judgment. In the sa'ata atiyatun akadu ukhfiha. So he got three things in an instant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fact to worship him alone, and then to do salah, and then to do and the whole knowledge of the day of judgment. Mousa at that state, he was very shocked, and he's just getting scared and scared. He's still a human. He was prepared for everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared him, but he's still a human at this state. You've got a lot of factors playing into his head. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, again in Surah Taha, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw that Mousa alayhi salam is quite scared. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى. What is that is in your right hand, Mousa? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing, He knows everything. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Prophet Musa said, what is that? What is that in your hand? Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said to him, you know that thing in your hand? Or would have gone into a command. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way of trying to calm him down. Now, everybody has been in a situation quite similar to this, where you go and see a little child and you see them, they're quite, probably in an induction in some stage down in their lives, or even your little brothers, and just to calm them down you go, oh, what's that little shirt on you? Is that nice? What colour is that? You know what colour it is, you know that they're wearing a shirt. But that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to calm him down. He saw him, he was quite scared and his heart is pumping at that stage. He's quite a scary moment at that life. And then, so here's the question. وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى? What is that in your hand, Musa? What did Musa reply? He said, قال هي عصاي أتوكل عليها وأهش بها على غنمي ولي فيها مآرب أخرى. It's my stick, and I'm just going to it. This is my stick wherein I lean and wherewith I beat down branches for my sheep and wherein I find other uses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just asked him for what is it? He just blurted it out. So you can imagine that, how scared was Musa, and then all of a sudden he felt a little bit calm. And he just thought he'd continue with that conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, okay, so if that's it, then throw it down on the floor. At that moment, Prophet Muhammad Prophet Musa alayhi salam, she threw that stick, and then it turned into a big snake. There's three different verses about that stick that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described in three different situations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it once as a nahayyatun tas'a. It was a snake that was moving. And another thing, thu'banu mubin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about it. It was on a big anaconda. It was really huge and big. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that sight of Musa alayhi salam. فَلَمَّا رَآهَا تَهْتَزَّ كَأَنَّهَا جَانٌ وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا. And then what happened in another ayah revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Musa saw this serpent, the snake starts moving, he thought it was like Jan. You know what Musa did? Ran away. He ran at that instant. It's a big snake. The situation is too much for Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to him, a snake, a huge snake, a stick, everything in front of him. His family is just down the line, just a few meters away. It's quite scary. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, أقبل ولا تخف إنك من الآمنين. Come back and don't be scared. You are saved. You're protected and safe. When he came back, another source says that angels came and told him, go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he went there, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, خُذْهَا وَلَا تَخَفْ. Take it and don't be scared. Sources say that he actually put his hand inside the mouth of the snake. Other sources say he just picked it up from the tail. Either way, he picked up the snake. With no fear, he's been calmed down. He picked it up and then he turned back into the stick. SubhanAllah. I want to just iterate some point here. SubhanAllah, this Musa alayhi salam was moments ago, he was outside where it was raining and thunder and the winds pushing. And then suddenly he's in this zone where he's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mercy, forgiveness, he can feel it calm and relaxing. Let's forget what has just happened to him, but the place he was in, there was a lot of calmness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is another message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to tell us, this is your life, this applies to everybody here and every single person on this planet. Everybody who is not with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is not enclosed in the calmness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is outside where it's windy and thundery and everything's havocy and it's messed up around you. And when you enter within the zone of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Quran, in the prayer, in dua, supplication, performing worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what happens to you. You've entered that enclosure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So going back to Musa alayhi salam, he's in this place. He's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very calm place. But his heart's still pounding. What has just happened to him? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, وَضْمُمْ يَدَكَ إِلَى جَنَاحِكَ تَخْرُجُ بَيْضَاء مِنْ غَيْرِ سُوءٍ. Oops, sorry. And press your right hand to your left side, it will come forth white and shining without any disease as another sign. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to do. Now he's just still shocked with something that's just happened to him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him another command. وَضُمْ يَدَكَ إِلَى جِنَاحِكَ تَخْرُجْ بَيْضَاءَ. And another ayah, فِي جَيْبِكَ. So some people say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to put his right hand under his left and then pull it out quickly. Jayb as well in Arabic, there is any hole. So basically he just put it here, or like with his thing he was covered, so he put your hand in there. So what he did was he put his arms like that and then he pulled it out and it was completely white. The whole hand was really white. Prophet Mousa alayhi salam was a dark, tanned person and his hand was just white. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added on, min ghayri su', which is without any disease. Because some people would say, okay, he's got a skin condition that's just turned white. He's got a disease in his hand and his hand's white all of a sudden. But no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, min ghayri su'. So once he did it like that and it turned into white. The significance of that we'll go into in a moment. That just topped it all up for Prophet Mousa alayhi salam, and his heart started pounding even more. His hand just suddenly white, a snake just appeared before him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw this, and then he said to him, وَضْمُمْ إِلَيْكَ جَنَاحَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ. In another surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, now take your hand, put it back onto your heart, put it here, just leave it there. And you will go back to calm. Your heart will start stopping. And subhanallah ta'ala, something like this, I want you all to keep it, bear it in mind. Next time your heart's pounding, you feel a bit scared, a bit agitated, or worried about something, just do that. Just put your hand, just do like that. And subhanallah, that changes a lot of things. I don't know how it works, but it will work. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he's considered to be the 5th Khalifa. Although there was loads of Khalifas after Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Umayyad and that, but Umar ibn Abdul Aziz is considered the 5th Khalifa. One day he was sat down in his palace and he had somebody writing. He had these people who would write for him things and letters to other ambassadors. And the poor guy, bless him, he farted in the sitting room there. And the guy, bless him, he just stood up. He was so red and he was so nervous and scared at that moment. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz stood up, went to him and said to him, do this. He told him to, and he calmed down. He changed things. SubhanAllah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was praying one day and a Jewish person came. He had nothing but hatred for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He had the dagger with him. He was going to wait for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam to bow down or finish from prayer and then jump and kill him. He had this in his head. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam knew who he was. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam turned, when he finished the prayer, he sat down facing the Musallin. He called upon that person to come in front of him. That guy's got nothing but hatred. He's got the dagger ready. Any moment he's about to take it out. Excuse me. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam went there and then just tapped his chest. Just did that with a nice smile on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's face. And subhanallah, that melted everything this person had in his heart against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Of course, after seeing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and seeing how he treated him, because he knew that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew about that dagger, he went out. Of course, he announced his Islam, and then he later on said, I entered that mosque hating nobody on this planet but the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now, and that moment when I left the mosque, there is nobody but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who's beloved to me. It was just a simple action, just tapping the chest. And another story also revealed by somebody who, it was a da'iyah, he'd give da'wah to people. He was approached by somebody who kept saying that I'm quite bad, I'm an evil person, and I like doing sins. I don't know what to do. So obviously with that, return to Quran, return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do sajda, and make dua for Allah to give you hidayah. But and then he remembered the story of Mousa alayhi salam. So what he did, he went and just tapped on his chest. Obviously, you've got to build rapport with somebody. You don't go to a random person and do that. The Da'iyah went and they just tapped on his chest with a smile. And then he just left him there. Years passed, and this guy managed to somehow track this, because the Da'iyah, the one who gave the da'wah, who did that to him. And he said to him, do you remember when we talked? He, of course, had to remind him of where it happened. He said, yes, I remember now. Because, you know what, you said a lot of things, but only one thing affected my life, one thing that changed it for me, is that tap you did on my chest. I don't know what it did, how it works. It's not, I'm not going to say it's a miracle touch that's going to happen. It's going to happen. You've got to build that rapport, you've got to give the right words as well with it. So going back, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave that to the Prophet Mousa alayhi salam. He said to him, just do that to yourself. Tap it. And subhanAllah, things changed and he calmed down. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِنُرِيَكَ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا الْكُبْرَى. Now these two, the snake, the snake and the hand, the right hand, turning into white. These are big miracles from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you. And then what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had told Prophet Mousa alayhi salam, now that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calmed him down, he's calm, he's ready, he's receptive to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell him, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun. He has gone to extreme tyranny, extreme oppression, extreme injustice. He's beyond bearable. What he's doing is very bad by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and describing that to him. And then he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قال رب اشرح لي صدري. So at that moment, he knew what his mission is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him the two things. Go to Fir'aun and tell him to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you finish, when you tell him that, then tell him to let Bani Israel out of that captivity that they're in. He's banned them from travelling outside Egypt. He's kept them there, tightly secured within their towns. He wouldn't let them get out or express any freedom of any sort. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him these two things. The thing is, some people when they get given a mission, what they do is, they take it, okay good, and they run off, and they start it. And then right before they're about to execute whatever the command is, they stop and pause and they think, but I need this, that. And then they go back, asking, okay, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, I've got that problem. Can you help me out with that so I can execute my task out? But Prophet Mousa alayhi salam, at that point, he went and said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me the ability to be open-hearted to everybody, so that whatever harm I receive from them, I'll be forgiving and merciful, and I don't take aggression out onto them. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. Some sources, and I'm not going to rely on them heavily, but they say that Prophet Mousa alayhi salam had a bit of an anger when he sees injustice or something like that. He would be very angry at that point. So he wanted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him with that problem. Then he said, وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي, and make it easy for me. And he said, وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي. Do you remember the story where I told you about Prophet Mousa when he was young, and then he was sat on the Prophet on Fir'aun's lap, and then he whacked Fir'aun with a stick, and then Fir'aun ended up trying to test him out with a coal and a bit of jewellery, and then Mousa alayhi salam went for the coal and he put it on his stick and he burnt it. That's one version of the story. The other thing is what Prophet Mousa alayhi salam used to suffer was, if he's talking to people and he's got the right with him and he's got facts with him, and they keep lying and telling him, calling him a liar and not believing in him, he'd get a bit annoyed and get quite agitated, and then he starts not being able to bring all his thoughts together. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now I know what I'm going to be asking is quite a big thing. I mean, I'm telling them to leave Fir'aun. I'm telling Fir'aun to stop this nonsense about you being God and to worship your God, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. he knows that he'll be met with a lot of resistance, especially from Fir'aun, and then the others who are around him, and then the poor people who just go with the flow wherever they are. And so he wanted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him, so he can talk and argue his point very nicely and in a very coherent manner. And then he said, وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي. And oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help, give me a minister, somebody with me, an aide from my family, to be with me, to stand by me. Harun, my brother, I want him to be there with me. And in another verse, he says about Harun, وأخي هارون هو أفصح مني لسانا فارسله معي رداء يصدقني إني أخاف أن يكذبون. In Surah Al-Qasas, the narrations, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added this bit where Mousa said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my brother Harun, he's better at presenting points, he's better at public speaking, he can say things better than me. He was born before him, and so he knows more about the culture, how to talk to them. He knows both languages. He understands the mentality. Moreover, he's been away for 10 years. So things would have changed. Words, the culture, behavior, etiquettes would have changed. So Harun is the most trusted person at that time who can help him with this, and he'll be able to help him with that. Moreover, he asked, because Harun is able to calm him down in things like that when he's very aggravated. So Harun is there to act as his rock and to stand by him through thick and thin. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, no problem, done, consider it done. And in the surah, going back to Surah Taha, he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, get Harun, make him involved with me in this. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make him a prophet, for him to carry this message. I remember being taught this by one of my teachers, and they said this is the best present he can give to his brother Harun, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him the prophet, to become a prophet. And then he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at least with him, then we can mention you, we can remember you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can help each other, even if we're being neglected, but you need somebody there to support you. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he got given the message, he had his wife, he had Aisha, he had Ali ibn Abi Talib, he had Zayd ibn Haritha, he had Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He had so many people around him that they formed the rock, the foundation for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to perform his message. And here Mousa actually asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, so you've asked for some alteration, I can help you with the speech, with your brother. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to him in one way which is quite magnificent. He said, قَدْ أُوتِيتَ سُؤْلَكَ يَا مُوسَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, he asked for a few things, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded, this one thing that you've asked, I'll give it to you, it's done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to him, nothing is too much. Whatever you think is loads and too much, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing, it should give it to you. In fact, a hadith by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that says, if every single person from Adam to the last baby born before the day of judgment, if every single one of us stands in one line, and every single person asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything they ever wanted, practically everybody's going to be asking for the best palaces, the best income, the best children, best wife, everything like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if I granted every single person what they wanted, this will not affect anything of my wealth. As much as if you take a needle and put it in the sea ocean, and you take it out, what gap has he made in the whole ocean? Nothing. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he just gives and doesn't care. You can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything you want, as many things as you want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant it to you. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then not only just said that, he said to him, وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَيْكَ مَرَّةً أُخْرَى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this opportunity to tell him, this is not the first time we're helping you out, Mousa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, when you were young, when you were just born, I told your mother to take you and put you in a basket and to throw you in the river. That river is going to take you to an enemy of yours. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started telling him the story, the events that have happened to Mousa alayhi salam. He's heard snips and parts from Asiya, he's heard bits from Yukabid as he was growing up when they started telling him what has happened to him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him everything, even including how his sister walked alongside the basket to see where it reaches, and then when she went in and told Fir'aun that your mother can help, how your mother's going to be the nanny and to look after you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, even the part where you stayed in Madian. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him all of this. He's given him that calm, that assurance. He said to him, now you and your brother, go and do what you're set out to do. He's done this conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded him again. He said to him, idhaba. Now, before he said to him, idhab ila Fir'aun. Now that he's asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his brother to be with him. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to resend this new order. Idhaba, both of you, go to Fir'aun. Innahu tagha. And the weird thing is here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him, فَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ وَيَخْشَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him, don't be harsh and don't use harsh tones. Use lovely, respectful words. Don't be harsh and don't be annoying and don't be, don't patronize the person. He's wrong. But go and be as respectful as you can and go and deliver the message. And this is a very sad fact. Today we see that some sheikhs, some don't, just because they know a little bit, they've read an extra book, they think that Islam is complete hate and just everybody who's not a Muslim is wrong, and this is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Mousa and said to him, go. Now this guy says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no God, he is God. He's done all forms of shirk, he kills people like they're dead flies. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still telling Mousa to treat him with respect, to talk and deliver the message with respect. That's something we should all pass on. We see it in mosque, we see it. Let's not go into that at the moment actually. But that's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, that's not Islam. Islam's all about giving peace, care and love, and then deliver the message of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the Salihin said, Subhanallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Mousa to talk to this person with utter respect, with utter mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to treat him with respect and to talk to him very nicely, how do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to treat us, who we say that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We have not seen any of Allah's mercy, if Fir'aun's yet to experience that from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then again, the two of them set out, now that they're both together, there might be a slight difference in the problem here. So they said, قال ربنا إننا نخاف أن يفرط علينا أو أن يطغى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he might start attacking us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded back and said, لا تخافا إنني معكما أسمع وأرى. Don't be scared and don't be afraid, for I am with you. I'm going to hear, I can hear and I can see. And again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَأْتِيَا فَقُولَا. Now when you go to him, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is setting out what to say. Go to him and say that we are messengers from Allah. Not from just messengers from Allah. He's saying, we are messengers from your God. To tell him, you're not God. There is a God who's made everything. So you can see that he's already knocking him down. And then so you've got the first thing, to tell him that you're messengers from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is a God. It's not you, Fir'aun. And to tell him to let Bani Israel come out. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reiterating their mission. So what they do is, Mousa alayhi salam says, okay, now I've got this, he's received this message. So he goes back from Wadi al-Muqaddas, from the valley of Tura. He goes back, goes to his wife, and then they go back to Egypt. They continue their journey. Now he goes and enters the village, and you can imagine how he goes and greets his mum, hasn't seen her for 10 years. And the thing is, people think, how, is she still alive? What has happened to her? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to, gave a wahi to the mother, we will save him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we will save him. That's the first promise from Allah. وَجَعَلُوا مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And we will make him a messenger and a prophet. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her life to see Mousa as a prophet at that stage. So now he went, he prepared himself, he filled in Harun with everything, the whole mission, everything he needs to be done, and how to act together and united together in this mission. And just before I go into any of this, one thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would only send miracles to the prophets relevant to the time and place that they're in. The ultimate miracles, that is here in my hand, Quran. That miracle, we overlook it, we think it's just words and we just ignore it and just set it aside. But once we indulge in it and learn the lessons from it, really appreciate it, it is truly a miracle. But what manifests Quran as a special miracle is that Quraysh and the Arabs at that time, they were the best at the language. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them something that is far better and far superior than their primitive, normal language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Quran that even when they read it, they have to force themselves not to believe it, otherwise it's very easily believed in. They think and they say that the words are not of a human. It cannot be. The way words are constructed, the way letters and the orders of things dictates importance in the Islam. So this is one of the miracles. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Isa alayhi salam. His miracle was he would cure people. The time of the Christians at that time, they were very good in healthcare. The medicines, the doctors there. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Isa alayhi salam to show them the ultimate miracle, which is curing from diseases and sicknesses. Now, like I said, Mousa and Fir'aun relied on magicians a lot. That was their speciality in Egypt at that time. And Fir'aun used them as his form of information spreading. He'd use them as a form of advertising for him, the marketing team, so to speak, for Fir'aun, and to worship him, and they'd do all their magic and say, oh, this is by the power of Fir'aun that this is happening. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, this is your magic. We'll fight that miracle with a better one, with a true miracle, which is truly a miracle, not the silly things. Today what they said is, there was actually a program on telly one day that they did these little tricks that these people did. It's very easily done. It's a few hidden rope here and there, and you just shake the ropes. And what they did is, so all of this was quite exposed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Mousa with a stick that turns into a real snake. So that just fights their miracle. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him something else. Now you've got your miracle that's going to fight whatever they've got in that time. Then there's this other miracle, the hand. And when it comes out, it turns white. What significance? There's a lot of theories that will go, why is this significant to the message, and what's so relevant? The Egyptians were so superior in mummification. So what they do is change one state to another. So from a body that can decompose very quickly to something that slows down that decomposition. And so it's a use of a chemical. So you're changing one thing to another. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, Mousa, if they can do one thing to another, and it only happens because Allah allows it to happen, so how about your hand? Your dark skin comes out white. That just kind of top trumps it, basically. It's just far better than what you guys have got. And then the other thing which is quite good about it is that a white hand, hand of peace, the right, you're fighting them with peace. The language of dialogue, and you're putting your hand white. The white flags are used now, but I'm putting my hand here to shake your hand. This is peace. This is what we're all about. So, like later on, you'll see that Fir'aun couldn't fight this. So now, going back, Mousa alayhi salam prepared his brother Harun. They're walking to the palace. And as he approaches the palace, you can imagine him just walking in. The sight of the palace might have flooded in all those memories of where he was. He used to play there, and he used to walk there, he used to jump on that and do this when he was young. And he reached the guards, and he said to them to tell Fir'aun that we are coming. You can imagine when they run into Fir'aun and said, Fir'aun, Musa's coming, Musa's here. Bring him in. Now, Fir'aun could have just gone and killed him, because there was a death penalty for killing this person. But he said, let him in. Because Fir'aun wanted to know, he's been away from us 10 years, why would he want to come back in? And now, he's lived in the desert, and before he had the best food, the best clothes. Now he came from the desert, just what's enough for him. May have not been as muscular as he was probably, but he was still strong. He'd walk, and all those priests and the magician would just look across. They were also interested. Why would he come back now? And all these questions that would run in their heads. And then he'd walk in. He was allowed in, and he stood there Fir'aun standing in front of him. I want you all to imagine this. Now he's here in the courtyard where Fir'aun sits there. All the people around him. He's got Haman next to him and some priests on one side and another side. Magicians just there. And then he goes to Fir'aun and straight away goes to him. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him. He just went in. He's got his demands. Put it clear, because he may not have another chance to present himself in front of Fir'aun. So he went to him and said, "Inna Rasul Rabbik, farsil ma'na bani Israel wa la tu'adhibhum." So he said the two things in one ayah. We are messengers from your God, and allow the children of Israel to come with us. It shows that it's not their. This is just proof that the children of Israel do not belong in Egypt. It's not their place. They need to be. They came as guests. It's about time that they leave. You're oppressing them. You're a tyrant. You've got to let them go. Now it's a bit of a war going on now here. The winner has got to be wise and clever. And the other thing, he's got to have inner power. So he can't be intimidated very quickly. Whoever demonstrates these two will be the winner, will win in this battle. So Fir'aun's not an idiot, he's quite clever. He's been surrounded by wise people and he hears a lot of things. So what he thought, okay, this guy's approaching me, let me just knock him in the inside. So what Fir'aun started saying, so Mousa just said that there's a God and he has to release the children of Israel. So Fir'aun turns back and says to him, did we not look after you from your birth till you became strong? In complete disregard to him. Did we not do that for you? Suddenly you became strong and you had all of this thing. You were nothing. We clothed you, we bathed you, we gave you food and educated you. And then, to top things up, you killed somebody. Don't think that you're innocent and you come in and giving me all of this. You killed somebody. Not only that, we looked after you, then you killed somebody from one of us. That would, see, some people will come and approach something and there's somebody, so you've got something and you're going up to somebody, you're going to tell them, and then they say one word, just knocks you down. But Mousa alayhi salam was prepared. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he was prepared for things. He's quite a strong character on the inside. So what he said, I did it. So first question is, we looked after you. Second question, you killed somebody. So what he said, okay, he thinks that he played his last card, which is the killing. Okay, let me just take that one first. Yeah, I did it. But it wasn't intentional. Ultimately, it wasn't intentional. Because, quite frankly, why is he mentioning something? He went and intentionally killed all those innocent children. He went and killed people like there's nothing. And like later down, you'll see how he just kills 10,000 magicians in one day. He doesn't care about it. Suddenly he's cared about this one person that died. So Prophet Mousa said to him, yeah, I did, but I was unintentional. I didn't mean to kill him. I went in there to try and stop it, but what had happened, I ended up punching him and he died. And then Allah blessed me with wisdom. Ever since then, Allah blessed me with wisdom and made me a messenger now. So if you think you're going to hold something against me, Allah had forgiven me for something like this. It's in the past, it's behind me, and I don't do stuff like this, and I am wise. And the proof is when he saw the sight of the two girls and the shepherds, he was wise. He didn't just jump in and then start arguing. He heard the story. That's first form of manifesting his wisdom from that lesson particularly. And then, so first thing, and then what's this? You gave me clothes and you looked after me from birth. And what Prophet Mousa said to him, something very strong. He said to him, وَتِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيَّ أَنْ عَبَّدْتَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ. Now you're telling me that I killed somebody, I told you it's done, it's in the past, that it was unintentional. Now, this ayah can be interpreted in two ways, and both of them are just as lovely as each other. The first thing is, what have you done? You looked after one person from the children of Israel. You've enslaved the 60,000 minus one. You've made them all slaves. You've beat them, you killed, they're innocent. And you think that you've got this great favour, you've done me a big favour that you've looked after one person? It doesn't even come near like the scream of one child for not seeing their parents, or or seeing the punishment. The other thing is, he said, it could be said, now, تِلْكَ نِعْمَةٌ تَمُنُّهَا عَلَيْهِ. Now, do you think if you didn't enslave the children of Israel, do you think I'll be here? It's because of you I'm here. It's because of you that the children of Israel are still here. It's about time you let them go. Let them go, they're free. Stop enslaving them. That time, he rattled Pharaoh. It was a big slap in his face. He thought that he can knock his conscience, knock him inside. But Mousa alayhi salam was given that. When he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help him talk and say things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him that, and he was able to get a response. Moreover, he tried to take him from a negative point, so he tried bringing his negative. And subhanAllah, how he took that, he learnt and he moved on and he turned it into a positive. Now I've been granted wisdom, I've learned from this lesson and I've moved on. Something we should all learn. If somebody comes to us and tell us about any negative point, learn from it, take it forward and move on, turn it into a positive. Something you would all approach in the interviews. You get questioned about what's your weak points, name it if you can. But show them how you changed it around and turned it into a positive. Now Pharaoh is very angry. He's off the wall with what he's just heard. He's going to prepare to retaliate now. But he's not going to turn Mousa into a martyr. He could just order him to kill them. He'll be surrounded, he's got all the guards around. You're not out, they'll kill him. But one thing is, now Pharaoh thinks that he's almighty and he's all powerful. But one person, there's also another part of the dialogue where Pharaoh just looks at him and goes, so you coming to take the 60,000 people by yourself? He just looked at him in that form. And Mousa said to him, yes. That just shook him inside. It's that power and that authority, and that he knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised him, لا تخافا, don't be scared, إني معكما أسمع وأرى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to be there with them. He had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protecting him. So Pharaoh's got to prepare for how to retaliate. He's not going to make him a martyr, he's going to try and show him off and then kill him. And that, inshaAllah, we'll take on next week, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. I hope we will take this on board, inshallah, and we take all the lessons from Mousa alayhi salam onto our lives, learn how to apply whatever we learn from our life and take it forward. Mousa alayhi salam knew how to talk to a person. His language and his tone to the Pharaoh was very respectful. I may have made it sound a little bit harsh or a little bit tone, but there was utter respect. He could have come and said, oh, you're not God, these people are idiots. He could have said all of this. But he chose not to, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, that's not how you do da'wah. Da'wah is to go to people and show love and care and look after these people. I thank you all so much again for coming, and inshallah we'll see you all next week on the 25th of January here, inshallah, where we'll take it from here and we'll go and see the whole confrontation, inshallah.